Seneca argues that virtue is the only true measure of progress. Progress in this sense is not about accumulating more resources or climbing the social ladder, but about advancing toward greater moral excellence. For Seneca, a person's moral development is an ongoing process. To move closer to virtue is to make progress, regardless of external circumstances. The core Stoic idea that Seneca adopts is the distinction between things that are within our control and things that are not. We cannot control external events, the actions of others, or even the natural course of life. However, we can control our reactions, our judgments, and our internal state. This is what Stoics mean by the dichotomy of control, and it forms the foundation for Seneca's idea of personal progress. For Seneca, progress lies in cultivating the ability to respond rationally and virtuously to the events and circumstances that befall us. The key to progress, then, is mastering the mind, developing self-control, and choosing wisdom over impulsivity. Seneca often refers to this inner discipline as the true strength of the Stoic individual, which enables them to face life's difficulties with composure and resilience. In On Anger, for example, Seneca discusses the importance of controlling one's emotions. He suggests that anger is a destructive passion and that by training oneself to recognize and suppress such emotions, one can make progress in becoming a virtuous and composed person. Seneca, like other Stoics, believes that human beings are rational creatures by nature. The essence of being human is the ability to reason, reflect, and make moral choices. In his letters to Lucilius, Seneca asserts that humans were created to live in harmony with nature and to use their rational faculties to make decisions that align with universal reason, or logos. This rationality is the basis for progress, the ability to think critically, develop virtues, and live according to nature's laws. The Stoics view nature as a divine force, a rational order that governs the universe. Since humans are part of this order, their primary aim should be to align their actions with this rationality. The Stoic sage, or wise person, is one who has succeeded in doing this. For Seneca, the ability to reason is a unique gift that sets humans apart from animals, and this ability allows individuals to engage in moral improvement. Progress, in Seneca's view, is less about achieving external success and more about self-mastery. It's about becoming the best version of oneself by training the mind and cultivating virtuous habits. He sees the cultivation of wisdom and self-control as essential aspects of human progress. In his letters to Lucilius, Seneca constantly advises Lucilius to focus on becoming a better person, rather than striving for external rewards. He writes, "You will hear people say, 'If only I had this or that I would be happy.' But those who are happy, even without these things, have progressed beyond them." This view of progress is deeply introspective. For Seneca, progress is not measured by external achievements, but by the gradual improvement of one's moral character. It is a journey toward inner peace and rational clarity. Through this lens, personal development becomes a lifelong project that requires constant effort, reflection, and philosophical study. Seneca frequently critiques the pursuit of wealth, power, and fame as misguided paths to fulfillment. This critique of material success serves as a critique of the Roman elite, whom Seneca was familiar with. He believed that the obsession with luxury and power corrupted people's ability to live virtuous lives. Wealth, he argued, often leads people to become slaves to their desires, which prevents true progress. Seneca does not deny that material goods can provide comfort or ease certain hardships, but he insists that they should never be the ultimate goal. Progress is not about accumulating more things, but about cultivating inner virtues. True progress, for Seneca, means mastering the self and aligning one's life with reason and virtue. For Seneca, philosophy is not merely an academic discipline or a set of abstract ideas. It is a practical guide for living a better life. Philosophy is a tool for cultivating wisdom, virtue, and self-control. In fact, Seneca believes that philosophy is the most effective means by which an individual can make progress. It provides the framework through which one can confront life's difficulties, navigate challenges, and develop a rational approach to emotions, desires, and fears. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, urges his student to engage with philosophy not as a passive activity, but as an active process of self-improvement. To Seneca, philosophy is an ongoing practice. It's not enough to read philosophical texts or discuss philosophical ideas, one must live according to them. Philosophy must be internalized and put into action. He writes, "A good character, my dear Lucilius, is not to be inherited, it must be acquired and you must work at it with all your might." Philosophy enables the individual to achieve self-mastery by teaching them to distinguish between what is under their control and what is not, to govern their desires, and to cultivate virtues such as patience, courage, and temperance. Seneca consistently advocates for practical wisdom, or phronesis, which allows individuals to make good decisions in all areas of life. In On the Shortness of Life, he emphasizes that wisdom enables us to use our time effectively, focus on what truly matters, and avoid the distractions of life that hinder progress. Wisdom also helps one handle adversity. When faced with hardship, a wise person responds with equanimity and without excessive emotional disturbance. In essence, wisdom allows for moral clarity and the cultivation of a harmonious inner life. To Seneca, the individual who follows a philosophical path of improvement becomes an example of the Stoic sage, a person who has mastered their emotions, desires, and thoughts. This sage is not someone who is perfect in the conventional sense, but rather someone who strives continually toward improvement, guided by reason. Reflection plays a key role in Seneca's philosophy. He frequently exhorts Lucilius to engage in deep introspection. By reflecting on one's actions and thoughts, a person can identify areas for improvement and course correct. This process of reflection allows an individual to grow in wisdom and progress in their moral development. For Seneca, it is not enough to passively accept life's challenges. One must actively reflect on how to improve and apply philosophical principles to one's own behavior. One of Seneca's most profound reflections on human life is his consideration of time. In On the Shortness of Life, Seneca argues that time is the most precious and limited resource available to us. Unlike wealth or status, time cannot be regained once it is lost. Seneca criticizes those who squander time on frivolous pursuits, such as excessive entertainment, luxury, or unnecessary work, which detracts from their capacity for self-improvement. He writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." For Seneca, time is the ultimate measure of progress. How a person chooses to spend their time reflects their priorities. If they spend it accumulating wealth or pursuing power, they miss the opportunity for true personal growth. On the other hand, if they devote their time to philosophy, wisdom, and virtue, they make tangible progress toward living a better. Seneca's focus on time also suggests a sense of urgency. Time is not infinite, and the longer we delay in pursuing progress, the less we will achieve. Progress for Seneca must be pursued with urgency and intentionality. We should avoid procrastination and actively work to improve ourselves every day. Seneca's reflections on time, therefore, underscore the pressing need for individuals to focus on what truly matters and to dedicate their time to activities that lead to self-improvement and moral growth. The ability to make the best use of time is, for Seneca, one of the most important aspects of progress. A central paradox in Seneca's philosophy is the relationship between progress and perfection. While Seneca advocates for constant self-improvement and the cultivation of virtue, he is also clear that complete perfection is unattainable. This paradox is particularly evident in his writings on anger, fear, and other emotions, where he acknowledges that human beings are not flawless, but that the striving for progress, rather than the attainment of perfection, should be the goal. Seneca believes that the pursuit of virtue and wisdom is a lifelong process. The Stoic sage is not someone who has achieved moral perfection, but someone who has made significant progress in aligning their life with reason. This ongoing struggle to improve oneself is where progress lies, not in a final perfected state. For example, in On Anger, Seneca acknowledges that it may not be possible to eliminate anger entirely, but that it can be controlled and reduced through practice and self-discipline. Thus, the paradox is clear. Progress involves striving to become better, while recognizing that perfection is impossible. The effort itself is what defines true progress. Seneca suggests that life is a constant work in progress. Just as a craftsman continues to refine his craft, the individual must continue to refine their character. Even if full perfection is not attainable, the process of striving toward it is itself a valuable and meaningful pursuit. Thus, progress for Seneca is not about achieving a final, fixed state of perfection, but about continual self-improvement, learning, and growth. This process involves regular self-reflection, the development of virtues, and the ability to cope with life's challenges in a rational and composed manner. Seneca's philosophy is not just about individual moral progress but also has a social dimension. Like other Stoics, Seneca believed in cosmopolitanism, the idea that all human beings are part of a greater interconnected whole. For the Stoic, the universe is governed by a rational divine force, and human beings, as rational creatures, share in this cosmic order. Therefore, each person has a responsibility not only to themselves, but to the wider community of humanity. In Letters to Lucilius, Seneca writes, "The good man is the friend of all, and the enemy of none. His community is the universe, and he shares in it with all other human beings." This cosmopolitan outlook expands the concept of progress beyond individual growth and self-improvement. While personal virtue is critical, Seneca sees the individual as part of a larger societal context, and this larger context has its own moral and philosophical dimensions. Progress, therefore, involves not only personal advancement in virtue but also contributing to the well-being of the broader human community. Seneca believed that a person's progress should be measured not only by how they improve themselves, but also by how they contribute to the common good. True virtue, according to Stoic thought, involves acting justly toward others and ensuring that one's actions align with the rational and moral order of the universe. For Seneca, justice is central to progress. In his letters and essays, he constantly encourages Lucilius to reflect on how his actions impact others, particularly in the public sphere. Stoic ethics teach that moral progress is incomplete without a commitment to justice, treating others with respect and fairness, and working toward a society where these virtues are cultivated. This sense of interconnectedness is deeply embedded in Seneca's belief that personal progress is intrinsically tied to the well-being of the whole community. Seneca's view on justice extends beyond simple acts of kindness or fairness. He stresses the importance of social responsibility and encourages his readers to recognize that their actions ripple outward, impacting others. Progress, therefore, involves not just refining oneself, but also contributing to the collective moral health of society. Seneca's role as an advisor to Emperor Nero and his position in the Roman elite gave him unique insight into the workings of power and corruption. Although Seneca's letters and essays often critique the vices of Roman society, especially its moral decay and excessive indulgence, he also advocates for leading by example. He encourages individuals to seek progress, not just in their personal lives, but in their public actions and contributions to society. In On the Shortness of Life, Seneca challenges the belief that time spent in political power or external achievements is valuable. He argues that many in Roman society waste their lives on trivial pursuits, such as seeking political office or accumulating wealth, which ultimately do not contribute to true human flourishing. Seneca's critique of Roman society was not just theoretical, it was deeply personal. His own political involvement and experiences with power allowed him to see firsthand how the pursuit of external goods often leads to moral degradation. In this way, his conception of progress is not just about individual virtue, but also about the moral condition of society. He advocates for progress through responsible and ethical leadership, which aligns with the greater good. Seneca, writing in the imperial court of Rome, was acutely aware of the moral decay that pervaded the Roman elite. In On the Shortness of Life and Letters to Lucilius, he critiques the luxurious and self-indulgent lifestyles of Rome's wealthy citizens, who, in his view, were more concerned with fleeting pleasures than with personal or societal progress. The Roman elite's obsession with pleasure, power, and status was, for Seneca, a major barrier to moral growth and societal progress. In his letters, Seneca expresses frustration at the widespread neglect of philosophy and self-control in Roman society. The Roman elite, including emperors like Nero, were caught in cycles of extravagance and vice, which Seneca saw as destructive to both personal and societal well-being. For Seneca, the challenge of progress in a corrupt society lies in the temptation to conform to societal norms that prioritize wealth, status, and pleasure over virtue. He warns that the pursuit of these external goods leads to inner turmoil and a wasted life. In letters to Lucilius he writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long if you know how to use it." Despite this corrupt environment, Seneca argues that individuals can still make progress by adhering to Stoic principles and developing their character. Even in a society that emphasizes external success, individuals can strive for internal growth and moral improvement. Seneca insists that progress should not depend on societal approval or external rewards. In fact, Stoicism teaches that an individual should act in accordance with their own moral compass, even if this means going against the grain of society. In the face of societal corruption, Seneca calls for a form of philosophical resistance, the decision to live virtuously, regardless of what others do. Seneca's views on progress, then, are deeply tied to an internal moral struggle that involves resisting the corrupting influences of society. Personal growth and progress are attainable even in a morally compromised society, provided the individual maintains a commitment to virtue. In conclusion, Seneca's vision of progress is deeply rooted in Stoic ethics, which focus on the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, and self-discipline. Personal progress for Seneca is about refining one's character and aligning one's life with reason, virtue, and the natural order. The pursuit of material success or status is ultimately irrelevant to the Stoic, as true happiness comes from within. At the same time, Seneca's cosmopolitanism reminds us that progress is not only a personal matter but also a social one. True progress involves contributing to the well-being of society by acting justly, responsibly, and with moral integrity. Even in a corrupt society, individuals can make progress by adhering to Stoic principles, resisting the temptations of luxury and vice. Ultimately, Seneca's idea of progress is not about achieving an endpoint, but about continuously striving to improve oneself. Progress is a lifelong journey of moral and intellectual development. By using our time wisely, reflecting on our actions, and engaging with philosophy, we can make steady progress toward becoming more virtuous, wise, and composed individuals. If you liked the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. If you want to share your thoughts on the video, you can do that in the comments section. If you want to receive notifications when a new video is uploaded, you can subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.